Hey guys, welcome back to Actually Anything, the podcast that's actually about anything. So now today, I got my friend Joe, and I got my other friend Joe here too. So we got, what was that, Joe Square? We got Joe.
Call me Foreman.
We got George. I almost said George Foreman.
You did say George.
Oh my fucking god.
Not the first time. Not the first time.
Not the first time he's heard that.
over the years.
So we got Joe Foreman here and Joe Kielbasa. So why are we here today? We're here to talk about Game of Thrones, Season 8 specifically. We'll probably talk a little bit about the previous seasons. And I wanted to wait because this, out of nowhere, this Last Watch documentary came out, kind of explaining how they filmed the last season a bit and all the behind-the-scenes work. It was kind of cool. But let's start from the beginning, Episode 1 of Season 8. So, what you guys expect coming into this season? It was almost, at least, it was like a year, 7 months, 18 days, I think, since Season 7 was out. So it was a long wait. We had a lot of expectations. Did they meet your expectations, guys?
The short answer is no.
Right.
But I think one of the biggest things I expected going in was a lot of surprises. And I wasn't necessarily surprised about how it played out. I liked what they did in terms of the direction they went, and I understood the direction they went. I felt it was rushed. And that's
100%.
saying a lot, because the first 2 episodes, I did not feel like much happened. And I know a lot of people felt that way, but I watched those first 2 episodes, and I felt like the only event of any significance was Jon telling Dany about his parentage. Outside of that, it was his characters
they also didn't really address that much either, with him being a Targaryen. Like, you think that would have had more to do with the story and the plot, but it really didn't. What about you? Like, what upsetted you most about, like, okay, the first episode's here, but, like, what immediately, like, kind of, like, got on your nerves?
What annoyed me was how they were so concerned about, like, surprising people instead of just, like, what things were building to. Like, kind of like how it was building for Jon to kill the Night King, or Arya to kill, like, the Queen, and then none of that happened. So it's as if, what was the point of Jon coming back from the dead? He didn't really do anything in the battle against the Night King. He did nothing really, essentially, in that, like, he just screamed at a dragon.
I binged the first 7 seasons within maybe over 3 or 4 months, a year or two ago. I think I got through it in early 2018, so I had a little more than a year to wait for this season. But I went through it very quickly, and a lot of those plot lines from some of those earlier seasons, I'm not very well versed in. I'm the first to admit that. But I think she did mention he is the prince who was promised, and that it
Something
was,
like that,
I forget the guy's name who gave up his life to save Arya. It was his job to save Arya. That was another plot line that involved Melisandre.
Oh, that guy, yeah. You know his name, right?
I have his name in here somewhere.
Beric, and he could light, his sword goes on fire. Yeah. He did die in episode 3, which was, I guess that was kind of. So yeah, was that his whole purpose all along, to save Arya? Like, is that's why he?
They sure made it seem that way.
I mean, but then in the end, like, it's not even like Arya did something huge that, like, dramatically, like, saved everybody, or I guess just having her alive.
She did kill the Night King in that episode.
Oh, she did.
So she did go on to do that.
Yeah.
So maybe his life purpose.
Spoiler.
His life purpose is to save human civilization, I guess, from winter. Maybe.
Yeah, I guess so. But now that brings us to another thing. The first 2 episodes, okay, like, I didn't really have too much of a problem with them. I thought it was cool. You know, I had, like, a lot of dialogue and stuff, which I kind of like. But at the same time, I can understand why people are upset, because it's been, like I said, over a year, and, you know, people have been waiting for this show, and, like, you don't necessarily want to just sit down and listen to some, you know, want to see some action, right? Like, it's Game of Thrones. And you don't really see much action until episode 3. No. And at least, like, maybe, like, 30, 20 minutes into the episode, too, because it was a lot of buildup of them just getting there and then attacking. Yeah, but, like, some things made me laugh, like, with Tormund and all of them together, and just kind of prepare. Oh, yeah, episode 4. That's when they were all, like, happy and celebrating. It was pretty funny. Yeah, so I think that was one good thing that they did during the season, is, like, they had a lot of them. I guess you gotta figure they were gonna do that at one point anyway, but just having all the characters together like that, interacting, like, that's, like, really fun to see, but
I will say that's one thing the show did extremely well over the years. They got you
they have
invested.
Good chemistry. Like
they got you invested in several different plot lines, and then as the show progresses, those plot lines intertwine with one another. Like we saw in this season, all of the characters are finally united in Winterfell.
Right.
The majority of
and
the
like
major
joining
characters.
forces, like almost.
And it's like a cinematic universe in a way. You see all these stories play out individually for the most part over the course of several seasons, and even though the stories are loosely connected, a lot of the time it's Daenerys' story separate from someone like the Lannisters, like Jaime Lannister. Those characters don't really cross paths outside of that one battle scene where he's charging her dragon, but they really don't interact much. And then you see in finally season 8 a lot of those characters finally meet in Winterfell, and I think their dialogue between one another made for some good moments, and that's really the takeaway from episode 1 and 2. A lot of characters who hadn't really interacted much got that opportunity in those 2 episodes, and that was some of the best stuff in episodes 1 and 2 for me.
100%. But then, then you got episode 3, okay? And... oh, right, I know. Look, Joe even has this Joe. This Joe's house. He has, you got this at a Met game, right, you said? It's the White
Mets.
Dragon, the Mets game.
In Major League... the Mets, Game of Thrones, Major League Baseball, all of the teams have their own designs, but Game of Thrones partnered with MLB to produce Game of Thrones bobbleheads. And one of them is that Ice Dragon. That one was actually a stadium giveaway at Citi Field.
That's cool.
That dragon.
I love this thing, man.
That dragon is numbered 1 through 2019. I purchased it on Fanatics.com, which is the official online sports retailer for a lot of the major sports. And that happens to be number 1 of 2019.
Wow.
So.
Isn't that nuts? Back to episode 3. I talked to with this Joe a lot about this. We were saying how this battle at least should have been throughout like a pan of like 3 episodes or like maybe like half a season, you know, just because it was so rushed, right? Like you said, kind of like the whole season, but just that particular thing, since it was all that build up to be this big crazy thing since like the very first episode, and it ended in like only like 40 minutes to like an hour, you know.
Yeah.
So. What did you expect that at least that was gonna happen? Like we thought okay, they weren't gonna win there. They would have to retreat maybe back to King's Landing. And...
I figured at least Jaime was gonna die. I figured Brienne would be safe. Semmo would have been safe, but at least Jaime would have died because other than Theon, you really don't get any major characters dying in that episode. And
not really. I guess Jorah, but you know.
Yeah, Jorah. Jorah's more of a major character too, but he was always kind of with Dany's storyline. But
that's true.
Yeah, and just the way, even just to jump ahead, how Dany ends up being evil, kind of shits all over Jorah's storyline. Because his whole
storyline was that I'm in love with you, you're my queen, I'll do anything to help you succeed, and then she ends up being
he says how good of a heart she has.
Bitch.
That's like the number 1 quality.
Yeah.
Right.
He's commending of hers, and nope, that's thrown away. About Jaime, to your point, Joe, how about just the hypothetical?
Yeah.
Jaime sacrifices himself to save Brienne in the Battle of Winterfell.
Yeah.
I think that completes his arc pretty well.
Yeah.
And won't sacrifice himself for someone else. That's just, a throwaway idea. Yeah. But, I'm sure there are people who are unhappy with that too. But, I think I'm more unhappy with the way it played out rather than seeing something like that happen. Just an idea.
Yeah. And... so we all knew with the Night King, you kill the Night King, you kill one of the elites, it kills a lot of the dead. And obviously, you kill the Night King, they're all gonna die. So we knew that's eventually they were gonna do that, but for them to just do it so quickly was nuts. And I don't know about you guys, but I didn't really expect Arya at all. So to kill the Night King, that was pretty crazy. And especially since that was the first time she's ever seen him. So. They did, that was another thing, they had all this build-up about, Jon gonna have, a one-on-one battle, which they looked like they were almost gonna do, right, in the field there, but then he raises the dead like a little, bitch-ass bitch. It's
missed
hey,
opportunity.
I'm ready, let's do this, and, you've been putting this fight off for way too long, and, I don't know, so that's why I thought at least when that scene happened, when all the dead were around there, I expected at least the dragon to come by and destroy most of them. So now he's not alone, Jon. So now, okay, I would have had to fight all of them by myself, but now this dragon just came and blew them all away. So now I could still make it to the Night King that's right there. But they never got to fight each other once, and that was really disappointing. And he was just such a big and cool character, I there was so much hype, especially in season 7. Like the whole dead thing was like huge in that season. That's another thing. But yeah, I don't know. I'm a little upset with that. You know,
2 missed opportunities for me with the Night King and Jon. I think one way they really could have went, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, is Jon susceptible to fire from a dragon? Could he be killed by fire? Because I think the best way to reveal his parentage to Dany is to have the Night King fly over him with the blue ice dragon and try and incinerate him. And then he walks out of the flames, and Dany realizes he's a Targaryen. Who is this guy?
Right, yeah, like, all she really knows that he... the only fact she knows that he's a Targaryen is just from what they told him. But he could have just lied. Like, but there was never really any proof, right? Like...
There wasn't. It was Sam's word for it from his research in the Citadel through books. So that's her taking his word for it. And he has no reason to lie.
That's a great point, because that would have been a perfect reason, a perfect explanation. You know,
that's
be like,
well,
yeah, that's how it happened.
The second missed opportunity, like you said, a fight between the Night King and Jon.
Yeah, at least one, even if it was like a few minutes, like something.
When's the last time they had a well choreographed sword fight in the show? It's been a long time, and that's something you would expect from a medieval style fantasy show.
And he would have had Valyrian steel, so they could have kind of went at it. You know,
it just doesn't happen. And the actor who plays the Night King is a stuntman. He's familiar with choreographing fights, and you think, oh, perfect. You have someone familiar with that, right up his alley. And they talked about it a lot during the Night's Watch. Or Final Watch documentary too.
Yeah. By the way, like I didn't mention that yet. I think I did in the beginning, but yeah, I really did like enjoy that documentary, all the behind the scenes work, and despite the writing not being that great for the season overall, like you said, a lot of missed opportunities. It was still. Did you get to watch it?
Unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
It was a little slow. It was a little slow. There was stuff in there I liked, but
I watched it last night. You know, I was like, okay. But yeah, like I said, because I work on like production sets sometimes. I do background work, and it just makes you like appreciate more. Like, oh, you know, like like it's more than just the story. Like you gotta like all that was done. You know, everything that was done, like the editing, that's still a lot of work. You know, like regardless of what they were told to do, you know, they did it and they made it real. So it's like credit still has to go to those people, like the makeup. You know, think about like the Night King's makeup, like it's incredible, and the dead and all that. And it shows you all that in the documentary. So if you guys haven't seen it, definitely check it out. It's cool. If you just like seeing that kind of stuff, you know, like I do. I think it's kind of interesting. And you see how like they're all getting like emotional, like with each other. It's because they 10 years. This was like a 10-year thing.
And they did a great job.
Yeah,
the visuals were excellent for the most part. And
just so much more could have been done.
Episode 3, it was so dark you couldn't see a lot of the hard work they put in, which is unfortunate. But that King's Landing set, built from scratch, that was phenomenal. Watching that on television, I couldn't tell that was a set that was completely built from scratch, and it definitely was based on what you saw in that.
Wait, wasn't it an actual? That was an actual city though, also, right? Like the only things they CGI'd was the like maybe outside the wall and the Cersei's building.
I will say, well, the castle wall where Missandei is beheaded, that was a set that they built. That was legit.
Wow, you see that's
so nuts. You have an opening in the wall. Behind the opening, there was definitely some CG, and you know,
they had a lot of open space out there.
For all the credit I'm giving them, there's one shot that really bothered me.
What?
I think it was episode 5. It's when the Golden Company meets the Dothraki and the rest of Daenerys' army outside the wall. And you have that one isolated soldier, I guess he's a member of the Golden Company, look, a commander or something, he's at the front of the line. And the Dothraki charge him on horseback.
Right? Like,
and I could be wrong, but to me it looked like the Dothraki on horseback are all CGI. The background is CGI, so you have the commander from the Golden Company, and then Grey Worm comes into the frame, and he spears him straight through the back.
Yeah.
And then he falls down as he's being trampled by the horses. But for all of the beautiful shots in this season, that one just bothered me so. Just that shot was unnecessary.
And you actually feel bad for the fucking guy. You're like, oh Jesus Christ! Like you didn't even get a fucking chance. Like,
way to sympathize with the Golden Company, the paid mercenaries fighting for the evil queen, or the queen you thought was evil going into the episode. Turns out they both were.
I like when they had that whole interaction out there. I thought they were gonna have like a mini, kind of like, battle. Before, like, because that dragon blowing up the wall and them getting all killed like that, I didn't think they were going to do that. I thought they were going to have to fight the Golden Company and the rest of those guys out there, which would have been, like, way cooler. Kind of like almost like a mini Battle of the Bastards kind of scene, just like, you know, obviously not with the, but but just having them fight outside the wall first, and then maybe the dragon does something with it, and then they get in. But like you said, they were kind of just like a waste of a.
Yeah.
Just, I don't get it.
Yeah, and then even though that they essentially said that the Dothraki were all killed in episode 3, like they even said you've essentially seen the end of the Dothraki, and then it's like, and now here's a whole shitload of them, and it's like, where'd they fucking come from? You just alluded to them all being dead, and then like the Golden Company is supposed to be like they're supposed to be like this legendary group of sellswords, like they're supposed to be like the best of the best of the best, and they look like a bunch of bitches.
Goodbye. Yeah, you know, that's why it was just, it was definitely disappointing. That even with the Unsullied, now they said afterwards, they were like, yeah, well, okay, we lost half of the Dothraki, so it's like, okay, they didn't all die, but half of them are gone. That's a fucking lie.
Yeah.
And same thing with the Unsullied, half of them are gone. All right, okay. But then, episode 5 and 6, you're seeing that there's a shit ton of them and fighting, and it's like, oh, so when... we were just watching that video before. That guy was like, "Oh, they just multiply like out of nowhere just for the plot reason." I don't know. It was just.
If I could easily find that, I would play it. Screen Rant makes those videos. I find them the pitch meetings hilarious. And Game of Thrones season 8, there was a lot of stuff, a lot of fodder for those videos. So.
But what's another thing? Oh, you know what so you know what bothered me the most? Rhaegal just dying like easily. Oh yeah, Dany sort of forgot about the Iron Fleet. Forgot about a big fleet of like 500 boats like in the water. So I don't know. They were flying around. I don't even know where they were flying around. It looked like that island where they got the Dragonstone, right?
I'm not exactly sure where they were going or where they came from. I guess they came from Winterfell at that point, right?
And then like somehow they got there like quickly. I don't even know what they were doing there either. Because they weren't by King's Landing. That's not where they were at. They were at that island where they got all the dragon glass. I mean,
it just seems to me like quite the oversight. An entire fleet.
Yeah.
What were those?
Scorpions.
An entire fleet of ships equipped with scorpions, and I think the shot before the dragon gets hit in the chest. They have Dany on Dragonback with this smirk on her face, like she's smiling, her hair flowing in the breeze, like she looks so happy.
Something out of Disney.
It's like a really cocky shot where she just looks like,
yes, like we're gonna do this, guys.
We got this. She looks so happy, and that's the shot they chose to go with before the dragon gets impaled by a spear into the chest. So I just found that kind of funny. The second time I watched it, I'm like, she's sitting there smiling, just looking all happy, and I know that the dragon's about to be shot. I'm like, that's a curious.
It really didn't make sense for him to just die like that. And then plus, you're trying to tell me like 3 perfect shots in a row. And they were far away, man. They were like miles wise, like at least like a mile or 2 away, like from the air. You know, like they were deep. And you're trying to tell me they managed to just hit him dead on.
I don't like to nitpick details like that, but I will say, whoever pulled those shots off, they needed that guy the next day or the next battle.
Because he must have had diarrhea the next day or the flu or something, because he was nowhere to be seen.
They had an expert marksman, and then the second time that the dragon approached the ships, these guys, they looked like stormtroopers out there. They couldn't do anything.
Well, that's we were just sort of in this video too with this what do they call again? Screen
Rant pitch meetings.
Anyway, so after the Battle of Winterfell, everybody's partying, but Dany is just sitting alone, all isolated, looking pissed where there's Starbucks. Does he say Starbucks? And in the next episode, she flies to King's Landing. But then Euron and the Iron Fleet snipe Rhaegal out of the sky with those scorpion things. What? How did Dany not know about the Iron Fleet being there? Well, Dany kind of forgot about the Iron Fleet and Euron's forces, but they certainly haven't forgotten her. She forgot? She forgot, a lot of stuff on her mind. I mean, okay, and does she blow up the ships with her dragon? Oh, no, I mean, a dragon is no match for a bunch of scorpions. Oh, okay, yikes. And then Cersei ends up killing Missandei, so Dany and Grey Worm are pissed. And does Dany remember who Cersei is? Of course she does. I don't know, I feel like I needed to ask. So then in the next episode, Dany just destroys all the scorpions in like a minute with her dragon. Wait, what? Yeah, I mean, a bunch of scorpions are no match for a dragon. Oh, but you just said the opposite. Oh, well, I kind of forgot about that. Well, okay then.
So that's just a sample of the Game of Thrones Season 8 pitch meeting from Screen Rant. But that's what a lot of fans of the show and even some casual viewers who may have just watched it for the first time after all the hype, I'm sure they felt that way. If you watch those 2 episodes, one after the other, and see that, you're thinking to yourself, first of all, where did that marksman go who took out the dragon the first time? And second, what a shift in the way that conflict is written between dragon and ship. Just a major shift.
Yeah, you got no scoped. It was terrible, though.
Plus, what I was saying is that they should have at least had, what's his name, Rhaegal, fight in episode 5. Like that I was telling Joe here, I was saying it would have been so much cooler to have the both of them to get, like, because it would have been more realistic too. Like, now you have 2 dragons taking out a fleet of ships, and that makes more sense. Like, because now there's 2 dragons in the sky, and it's like, oh, which one do we focus more on? Because they're both flying all over the place, and it's hard to.
That's a tough corner to write yourself out of. 2 dragons, and how do you make that conflict seem reasonable? That's tough.
But like, I just think it would have been right. And what I'm saying is, like, they're clearly not invincible. So I think while they were doing that, Rhaegal should have got hit at least maybe once, right? And then like they had the ones on the wall too, right? So then I was gonna say, okay, and then someone on the wall manages to get another shot, and then maybe another one, and then he crashes and falls and dies. But then by then too, they already won, right? They already they surrendered. The bells rang, but now you have a dead Rhaegal, like, just dead there in front of her, and that would have been more of a good reason for her to just get really, like, ticked off and for her to destroy the whole city. But and plus thinking about, like, everything else that just happened in the past, like Missandei and, like, just everyone else, and so I just think that would have been a better way to make her, like, because we all saw that Mad Queen thing coming, but even Joe here, he was saying they should have put a whole season just for that,
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think what they did, they used rapid fire character deaths like Jorah and her dragon Missandei to try and really move along that descent into madness, and like you said, you could see it coming, and even in just wardrobe alone, she starts the season, enters Winterfell in her white outfit, then she's in a gray outfit, and then she's on dragonback in a black outfit, and you realize exactly what's going on.
Yeah, it's like, what are you doing to me?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And they'll say they foreshadowed it along the way. I mean, she put people to death, but when you're writing a show like that, character deaths fall into the category if you have a situation like that. Did they deserve it? Did they not? Yeah. And you look at the characters that she put to death along the way, in most cases, you would say they deserved it for one reason or another.
But she ended up becoming, like, worse than they were, almost, like, in a way.
She did.
She literally just killed, like, children and a whole city, and which she had no reason to have to do that. All she really had to do is she really wanted to destroy something. Destroy fucking the, what do you call it?
Red Keep?
Yeah, because that's what you want in the end, like, or just, I don't know.
She had everything she wanted. She had the surrender.
They had
won. She had the surrender without the death of innocence. That was her goal the entire series. Less than 5 episodes, she went from wanting that the entire series to murdering a city full of innocent men, women, and children. It's such a leap for me, and I knew that's the direction they would likely go. You could see it as soon as she found out that Jon was a Targaryen. You could see the desperation set in there, but
it should have just been a slower build up. You know what I mean? Like it was like, that's the problem. It was just rushed. So, like, all that is fine, but, like, you spread it out. Like, even episode 5, like, realistically, maybe should have been, like, 2 episodes. You know what I mean? Like, just all of it. It could have made such a difference. Like, maybe, like, okay, maybe they could have did another season, right? Like, 9 seasons, 10 seasons. I think they were all for 10. But literally, if we had just, like, at least 4 more episodes, like, they could have changed, like, so much more, and they could have probably been a whole lot better.
I think 4 would have been very helpful. I think all the other seasons, maybe outside of 1, were 10, or was season 1 also 10?
I think I think they were all 10 until, like,
they were
until like season 6 or 7.
Well, I think the episode count for the show is 73. I'm gonna double check that right now. So there had to be at least one other season with less than 10.
Weird.
There might have been a writer's strike one year. I think that might have cut the episode count down during one of the seasons, but the writers, I think they wanted to move on to Star Wars, got a little bit eager maybe.
That's pretty interesting.
Because I can't imagine, a lot of the actors and actresses in Game of Thrones aren't in a lot of A-list American roles. So I don't know what their obligations would have been in terms of blockbuster, but I can't imagine they had anything more pressing than Game of Thrones. And the show does take some time to film, I'm sure. You saw that in the documentary, but...
Where are most of them from? Are any of them actually, like, from here?
I don't know.
Because they all have accents, you know?
I didn't
Most
know
of
of
them
any
is.
of them being in any major American films before I saw them in Game of Thrones. I did not recognize any of them.
No, besides Peter Dinklage, maybe.
And even then, actually, well,
but even then,
I
he
saw it
wasn't
in
really that big
2017,
either.
so I know him from X-Men Days of Future Past. 1993, I don't know if either of you have seen this movie, the Super Mario Brothers live-action movie from 1993. Talk about a regretful role. Bob Hoskins always talks about that being the biggest regret of his career. Same thing for
Yikes.
John Leguizamo. When I was a kid, that was my favorite movie. I rented it from Blockbuster. It was my favorite movie.
So like for them, like I don't know. It's just fun to think about. But yeah, that's hilarious. I think I've seen like bits and pieces of it.
Yeah.
That's
Save yourself.
Yeah.
You know, unless you're making a drinking game out of it, there is really no point of watching that movie. But I have all the action figures. I actually have more than one of each of the action figures from that movie upstairs,
Really?
buried somewhere. Actually, it might be back there. But I have them around somewhere. And when I was a kid, I knew that movie line for line. I saw it so many times.
Funny.
Yeah, and then how he doesn't even jump in the movie. Like,
No.
it's literally the one thing you do.
Those are the episode highlights in front of you, yeah.
Oh,
Every episode.
You wrote them down?
Oh, I copied and pasted it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're all right there. So if you need anything, there it is.
Yeah. Which one is this? Which episode is this one?
Oh, I think
is this a touchscreen? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, the Bluetooth might be off, but if I get the Bluetooth on, no, it is on. So no Bluetooth scroll. But yeah, start from the top. You have episode 1, and it says in there.
Cool.
You know, all the highlights. Yep. And if you look at episode 1 and 2, there isn't much highlighting, and most of it is deliberation over who should be king or queen, who wants John. Really.
Right, that's kind of what the beginning was.
Yeah, 2 episodes of it.
Yeah, you could even tell. What's her name? Sansa. Like, it was never really liked her, even when she met her, like last season. You know.
I thought Sansa would play a much bigger role in the way things played out. I felt like maybe she would walk in on the encounter between John and Dany, or have something to do with the way things wrapped up for those 2 characters.
Mm-hmm.
No, not really. She just agrees to send John back to the Wall. See you later, bro. You know, I'm going back up north. And how about Yara Greyjoy when Sansa decides, you know what, we're going to be an independent kingdom.
Yeah.
Yara has to be thinking to herself, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah.
She didn't seem too happy about Bran the Broken, which I think we'll get into that, but
That's true.
what a
She was
massive
also
disappointment.
she was also like really upset that like Daenerys died too, and then you know, it was kind of annoying too when they had I know it was like kind of stupid, but they had her talking stuff about Jon. She's like, he deserves to be he deserves to be in there for what he did to our queen. He killed her. And then Arya's like, if you don't stop talking about my brother, I'm gonna slit your throat. It's like, all right, Arya. Like, all right, we know you killed the Night King and all, and you're a crazy murderer, but like, all right, like, you know, I don't know. They really made her like invincible. You know, like I love her. I love a lot of the characters, but like, it's just damn.
Badass character, but written to be a very borderline invincible character at times. And I said it, you know, I love the way her story started. She had to watch her father get beheaded in
she went through
season
so
1.
much bullshit.
That's about as vulnerable as you get. And same with, I like Sansa's character from start to finish. She went through some shit.
Oh yeah.
But by the time it's over, it turns out she was smarter than everyone else.
Yeah.
Who would have thought? I mean,
that's true. Like, she knew all along that like Daenerys was bad news.
And Tyrion, who's supposed to be the all-knowing, you know, hand of the king, hand of the queen, he couldn't see it, apparently, and he's, you know, sticking up for Daenerys and how good she is. But Sansa's like, nope, you're wrong. I don't trust her. Jon should be king. And turns out she was right.
He needed more seasons on that build-up. Like, that's why Martin...
They really did, bro.
And Martin even said that if they were to follow along with the rest of the last 2 books, it would be a minimum another 4 seasons of the show. So, like, they literally squashed 4 seasons worth of a show into 6 episodes. Like, and, like, that doesn't help either. Like, it would have been cool to see, like, Sansa, like, finally, like clicking and, like, just being, like, who she was towards the end of the season. Because it was cool to see her, like, it's, like, all this building up and you only get to see her, like, reach that point for a few episodes, maybe. Like,
yeah.
And that was the thing with Dany, like, becoming, like, evil, like, that would have been better over, like, long term. Like they did plant the seeds for it, and, like, it made sense that she would reach there, but it was, like, that they got to, like, step 6 out of 10, and then they just went from 6 to 10. And it was, like, that's what pissed me off with that.
If I had to say, like, one of my favorite scenes of, I think one of the best, because I remember how you were saying before, they didn't really have too many good one-on-one combat, like, sword fighting. But the one with, the mountain and the hound, I thought was like excellent. Like especially the way they did it with the burning, with the building collapsing, and they even have like a really cool scene with the dragon flying like above them. It's just no, it's crazy because like I really liked how they did it, but like then you finally see what he looks like. He looks like Darth Vader, right?
A little bit.
Yeah, that was funny, but yeah, you know, like it's just. And I kind of like the little departure he has with Arya. He's like, you know, look what vengeance has made me. You know, like all my life I've been wanting to kill my brother, and it's like just put me down this like path of just, you know what I mean? And like, and you feel for the guy. You're like, fuck, you know, like it's almost like, you know, it's almost like in your life, it's never good to like, just like hold, not like necessarily hold grudges. I mean, if someone burned your face when you were younger, yeah, like I would want to kill them too, but to be but like you can't let it like consume you either, like the vengeance, and that's kind of what it did to him in his life. But yeah, but like I said, I just thought it was like a really cool like battle and end for him too, especially when they, you know, like they fall and he just wasn't dying. He was like literally a zombie. Like it was one of those things where you had to blow his head off in order to kill him, because you stab him anywhere else, he's still gonna keep moving.
It was a little cheesy. But I did like the way the Hound went out. I thought it was a fitting end.
Yeah,
for him. He finally got the vengeance he was looking for, and then somewhat poetically, he tackles his brother through the wall of the castle into the
like,
fire,
yeah.
which is the big thing for him. So
it's sad though. You just hate seeing all these guys go. You know, it's man.
It's the unfitting character endings that are frustrating. I thought the Hound got a good ending. I thought Jorah got a good ending, a fitting ending.
He did, but then we were saying like, okay, Jorah did have a good ending, but at the same time, if he was alive and saw what she became, he'd have been like, oh fuck, like this is the.
Would he?
I don't know. I mean, you think he would have approved of what she did?
No, but I'm not sure he would have departed her side anyway. I'm not certain.
I don't know. I think, well, you know what? If he was there, maybe she wouldn't have done it, because if he was there, he was kind of always that shoulder on her back.
Another character death that sent her over, and that I think that's the plot device they were trying to use to justify her going mad. Character deaths. Jorah, her dragon, Missandei, and I don't like that tool personally. I think there needs to be a little bit more than just that, because before this season, she didn't show really any signs of going mad, and I guess combined with her learning the truth
just
about
like once
Jon
in a while, maybe
over.
she had like a few scenes where she was pissed at somebody and she like, you know, didn't think and burned people, but.
And Missandei's last words on the wall.
Quick.
Did that have anything to do with her decision to burn the city? You think?
Oh, yeah. Like, why else would they have her say that, right? Because she said Dracarys.
Yeah,
and then...
I thought maybe that was her telling Daenerys, you know, take these people
Probably.
out, destroy this city, and maybe that's another plot device they use. That one line to try and, you know, justify it, but it just didn't work in 6 episodes for me personally.
All I know is with all these characters dying, like I can't invest myself into another show for that long. And just have like a similar thing where they just kill people. That's kind of like Walking Dead. Like I feel bad for people who watch Walking Dead and this like religiously, because you probably have like some serious stress. Just saying, like, because like you see all these characters die all the time, and like that's why I don't want to watch like another show like that where they're just killing off main characters a lot. It's sad, you know. Like I mean, how many, you know, like 11 characters they kill alone in this season, you know, which is expected, but that's because it's that show, but. Like I almost like don't want that anymore from like things. It definitely builds up you know, tension and emotions and stuff, but god damn, it just rips your heart out, you know? Like in Avengers, let's almost forgot, you know, like that same weekend was when Avengers Endgame came out. It was also the same weekend as episode 3 where they had the battle on the wall at Winterfell. And damn, you know, like that was an intense weekend. You know, you have so if, spoiler alert, if you didn't see Endgame yet, Iron Man perishes, you know, which was, I guess, you know, death is, it's kind of like when they do it on the big screen, it's kind of just, you know, putting their life on the line, and like they go out, like some characters go out in good ways, and you're like, all right, yeah, like Iron Man did, like he went out in like the most badass way. But then in Game of Thrones, you have some characters dying for no reason. I guess like that's like kind of like what I'm trying to get at.
I think too in Game of Thrones this season, something else. We mentioned Jaime briefly before, but just the way they wrapped up his character arc, winding up back with Cersei, it's baffling because it was a redemption story for him for the better part of the 7 seasons for sure, and now this 8th season, and he winds up right back where he started. And sometimes you have relationships like that in television that they call it endgame, where two characters are destined to wind up together, whether it be as a couple in a relationship or in death. And in this case, it was him and Cersei in death. But for Cersei as well, what an underutilized character this season. They hardly used Cersei at all this season.
I know, and think about like how much like the actress got paid, and literally all she did was like sit up at the Red Keep.
She didn't appear in all of the episodes either, if I'm not mistaken.
No,
I don't think
like,
she did.
No, and literally for like six of those episodes, like I said, she never left the Red Keep. I think she was just sipping wine, just having a good old Cersei time.
I'd love to clock it, but in episode 5, how much standing and staring between Daenerys on the dragon staring,
and Bran.
Tyrion surveying, and Cersei up in the Red Keep standing and staring. They probably used up at least 5 minutes of screen time on characters standing and staring. And with Cersei,
just not talking.
With Cersei, I get it. She's watching everything fall apart in front of her. She realizes the throne is gone. Forget about it. You need to get out of here. And she's in denial. But Daenerys, I don't know about that. On the dragon repeatedly. And Tyrion, you get it. He's shocked. But they didn't need to cut to Tyrion repeatedly. Standing in the same spot, I should add, outside the walls. He can't see anything that he hasn't seen already. He's outside the walls until she starts going on the murderous rampage with the dragon. But they cut to him more than once. And
now,
they wasted some time.
For the last 2 episodes, it kind of sucked because I heard these leaks. And literally everything I heard in the leaks was spot on, was like true. And, it didn't really ruin it for me. But at the same time, like, because like one of the leaks I heard was Varys dying. I was like, oh, they're really going to kill him like that? And then I got really upset about that. But then I heard everything else for episode 5. And like if I had to pick like one of the best episodes of that season, if you had to pick, I guess I would say that one because it was like visually like really cool and everything. But yeah, so like when I did hear the plot for that episode, I was like, oh, okay, that could probably be cool. But then I heard in the next one, because which was also accurate, they say Daenerys finds out about Tyrion freeing Jaime from the prison. And then I told you too, I heard in the leak that he gets arrested or whatever, put on a trial. But then I heard a leak that says that he dies, right? But then clearly he didn't. But then so there was 2 leaks for him. One that he dies and one that he doesn't and just lives on with being Bran's advisor. So did that. Oh yeah, you want to?
Yeah, I want to make sure I have the right clip. I think this is the full cast table read.
Oh yeah.
How long is that video?
It's 34 seconds, so I'll throw this up on the screen.
Yeah. We should show more clips because we have like some things we could. I'll show you the other guy before. It's kind of funny. That dude I showed you before. When he was doing that quick. Yeah. We'll have him up with the last episode.
We'll agree to follow him. Dragonstone Beach, night. Grey Worm leads Varys, hands bound, down the beach.
I told you what would happen if you betrayed me.
You did.
Lord Varys.
Look at his face. Like I feel so bad. Like you can tell he's upset.
He looks
Bested my name. Breaker of chains in my
Is that the script? He put it over there. He's like, get this out of my face.
Yeah, he's fucking disgusting.
Dracarys.
Drogon spews fire on him, but we don't watch our old friend burn. Instead, we see the reactions of those who knew him. Tyrion is heartbroken. Jon is disturbed. Grey Worm sees this as the just execution of a traitor.
What you saw in the media and the spin that a lot of YouTubers and news outlets put on the reactions seems to be generally right. Kit Harington's been very defensive of the work they've done on the season, and when the fans petitioned,
I heard about that. Yeah.
he said
he was
something
like really,
like, fuck the
really
fans.
Mad
He was really mad about it. And you get it.
You gotta figure too, like all that time and effort they're putting in the filming too, which takes so long. Regardless of like if you don't think it's perfect or not, you're working on the set and you're like, well, we did all this to make it happen, so I guess it's kind of like in that sense too, where he's like defending them. But
you watch the video of their reactions at the table read, and you can see why Kit Harington seems to be genuinely moved by the ending, while Emilia Clarke is on the other side of the table, looks like uncomfortable, cringing over the ending.
Right. It's like like all this just for me to.
That's the impression you got from her when you saw those interviews where she says best season ever, clearly sarcastically, and I don't think anyone would call this season the best ever. And even Peter Dinklage looks mildly perturbed as he reads it, but a lot of his lines are read in that sort of monotone.
I'm just glad they didn't kill him because he was definitely my favorite character.
He was definitely up there for me, and obviously Conleth Hill. clearly upset. Him slamming the script down is like me back when I was in high school. I'd show up, I didn't want to be there, and I'd walk in late, and I would take like my backpack and slam it on the floor as I walked in while class was going on, just because I thought I was making a statement. And clearly he's making the statement that he wasn't a fan of that script as he slams it down in the middle of the table.
Right.
And I have to admit, it's a little funny to watch, but you feel for someone who's put all that time into a character and they get an ending that they feel like isn't fitting.
Now, if you pay attention to the beginning, there's that scene where he's talking to that girl, right? And they mention how, oh, she's not eating, and she says, all right, we'll try again at supper, and then the girl was like, yeah, I think they're watching me, and he's like, who? And he's like, her soldiers, and he's like, well, yeah, that's their job, blah blah blah. Now someone was saying that, like that was probably. They were probably trying to poison her.
Oh, they were.
Yeah,
they absolutely were trying to poison Daenerys, and I didn't catch that the first time I watched it.
Me neither.
I went back and rewatched it.
It was very subtle,
and it was very low.
Yeah.
On my TV, the volume from that dialogue came through very low.
Right.
I'm like, what's going on? I had to turn the volume up at least 5 times what I normally use.
So episode 6, you had to turn up the volume really high, and episode 3, you had to turn the brightness up really high. So.
Did she sound like someone who's done fighting? She's a conqueror. She liberated the people of Slavers Bay. She liberated the people of King's Landing. Our queen's nature is fire and blood.
Standing before the Iron Throne, Dany steps forward and kisses the man she loves. A perfect kiss. Their eyes closed, his hand behind her head, her hand on his cheek. Dany's eyes open suddenly as she draws a sharp breath. Jon's eyes open as well, already filling with tears. For a moment, neither moves, as if moving will make this real.
Wow.
We see Jon with his hand still on the hilt of the dagger he just lodged in Dany's heart. Her strength leaves her
She's
as
probably
she
but it looks like she read it already.
Oh, she definitely knew it was coming,
Right,
of course.
Right.
Kneeling
Yeah,
down
this
to the
is
floor
far
beside
from
her.
the first time they've read it.
He looks down at what he's done, terrible and necessary. End of Game of Thrones.
That's crazy. What's his name again? Give him a shout out.
Scooter Magruder.
Scooter Magruder. Yeah, he's
Well,
mad
funny
funny
and his
guy.
name-
Finale?
Well, there's this
Yeah,
guy,
that's
he's a funny guy, and his name is Scooter Magruder.
The wait for the ad.
Oh yeah.
Graphics on that Game
It's
of
a
Thrones games,
It actually looks good.
excellent.
Yeah,
the
what the
graphics
hell?
are excellent.
Start the episode. How long is this preview? Hour and 25 minutes, okay? I'm scared. Please don't let me down after all this time. Tyrion looking through all the rubble. You made a mistake backing Daenerys. Should have never snitched on Varys. Grey Worm's really about to kill all the prisoners? God, don't get killed by Grey Worm. Take your hand off him. Grey Worm kills the prisoners anyways? Bruh, you must have really loved me someday. How did Tyrion just light that torch? There's Jaime's hand in the rubble. Is Tyrion gonna find them alive? Yeah, they're dead. Should have stayed with Brienne. What a shot of the Lannisters. Symbolism. Where's Jon going? They got that Targaryen banner up there. Quick! Oh, what a
Should have
cool
moved
shot of
10
the
feet to
throne
the right,
guard
right?
flying behind
Yeah.
Daenerys.
The bricks, we'll get into
that.
Lucifer.
That was awful.
See what
Stupid.
Daenerys has to say.
Yeah.
Queen genocide. She gave Grey Worm a promotion to commander of army? Moving up, Grey Worm. You moving up. Sully freed the people of King's Landing. That's a weird way to say murder. Now Daenerys wants to free the whole world. Arya just added Daenerys to her list. Daenerys knows Tyrion freed Jaime. I freed my brother and you slaughtered a whole city? Tyrion is a G. Take him. Look at that look Daenerys is giving Jon. You want some too, Dad? That's what I thought. Yeah, keep it moving. Where the heck did Arya come from? Arya is speaking the truth, Jon. You'll always be a threat. Jon's coming to see Tyrion in holding. Stop trying to justify genocide, Jon. Love is more powerful than reason. Love is the death of duty. That's a pessimistic view. Answer the question. Who was the greatest threat to the people, Jon? That's 2 people who warned you now, Jon. Arya and Tyrion. Think of your sisters. You know they ain't been to the knee. Drogon was just chilling in the ash. Daenerys finally sees the throne. She gonna touch it? She touched it. About time you touched it. Only took, what, 8 seasons? Is that Jon in the background? She wants you to build
I like how
a new
they were
world
kind of
together?
accurate
Go
with
on,
her
Jon. Little children were burned.
prediction,
Go on, children.
her future
You're
like
asking
that.
Daenerys to
She
forgive
did
you.
touch
Did you know
it,
what's happened to the whole city?
and
There's no
when
coming back,
she
Jon.
leaves,
Just say yes, Jon.
she sees her
Remember what
her
happened last time you said no? You are queen now and always? Jon stabbed her.
what's that guy?
And she didn't even get to sit on the throne.
From the-
It was necessary. It had to be done.
I didn't think it was
Drogon knows
her
she was
old
dead.
husband.
Oh, Khal Drogo.
Khal Drogo.
Oh, yeah.
Sees them and the baby after she leaves this door, and it almost symbolizes like when she died.
The heck is
Jon,
Drogon
yeah.
taking Daenerys' body? The way the throne was built is the way it got destroyed. Is it over? I was about to say. Tyrion's still gonna get executed and Daenerys is dead? Okay, I see. We skipped time. What is happening? Why is everyone here? Yara Greyjoy, what up? Say another word about Jon. I dare you. Sam on the council. Is that Robert Aaron? That's that little kid? Davos is on the council too. Okay. Started Fumsy Bottom, now we here. Choose a new king or queen. Maybe don't sit down, Edmure Tully. There better be something. Sam could be right. Democracy might work. They're laughing at democracy. Okay. Bran the Broken. Tyrion nominated Bran. All those blog posts were right. Bran? Why do you think I came all this way?
Yeah, it really doesn't make sense.
7 seasons ago.
What are you doing?
No work and got the crown. That reminds me of every group project I've ever been in. None of the work, all the credit. Bran the Broken, ladies and gentlemen. This man even lift a sword ever? Sansa is salty. The North will remain independent. Also laying down some ground rules. Tyrion's gonna be the hand of the king. Tyrion's gonna spend the rest of his life fixing his mistakes. Jon Snow's going back to the Night's Watch. Jon can't catch a break. He's a shade, Jon. Look at Grey Worm. Still mad that Jon's alive. The North is free thanks to you, Sansa. Arya's going west of Westeros? Sounds like a spin-off series
To Westworld.
me. West of Westeros. Arya the Explorer. Arya goes west. Wild
Arya of the
Westeros.
Caribbean.
Brienne's looking for Jaime's name. Died protecting his queen. A Song of Ice and Fire. That's the name of the book. Tyrion isn't even mentioned in the book. They just tried my man's whole life. They don't know where Drogon is. Is Bran gonna war to find him? Podrick is a knight now. Let's go. Tormund is at the Night's Watch. You better have brought Ghost with you. You didn't bring Ghost with them? The worst ending ever. Is that Ghost? Yes! Go! Go!
You know how many people were fucking like so happy after that? They were like, he didn't pedal, but now he did.
The Queen of the North! John about to find himself another egret. I see you, John. Look, I mean, it wasn't the best ending. Based off these last 2 episodes, this was as good as it's gonna get. I didn't love the ending. I didn't hate the ending, but I am gonna miss the show. You know nothing, Jon Snow. No more Arya? The needle? All I'm saying is the last season was rushed. It should have been 10 episodes. I'm just gonna miss King's Landing. The scheming, the plotting. My kill list was so wrong. What am I gonna watch now? What is it, Watchmen? I might.
Does look good. When they were mentioning at the council, they were all kind of deciding, oh, who should lead us. And then Sansa was like, all right, the North's going to remain independent. But maybe they should have just did that with all of them, right? So basically everyone that was there is the lord or queen or king of their own house or of their own land, place. You know what I mean? That's what I was almost expecting. So I was like, okay, I don't know, but then maybe it would be too all over the place if it's like that.
I think if you're a fan of the show, you needed to see someone on the Iron Throne to end it. I wanted a definitive answer, and the Iron Throne gets melted.
Yeah.
Bran is king, not the answer most people wanted, but it's an answer, and I guess
it makes sense too.
A good answer to who wins the Game of Thrones is the most fitting ending you could come up with, but that doesn't seem like the direction they went.
Right. I mean, if anything, they should have just made Jon king, even though he didn't want it. But I don't know, man. Like, you see, it's just really hard to say. I feel like there's so many different possibilities, but like you're not gonna please everybody, right? Like literally, the 3 of us right now probably have like different opinions on how we think it should have ended. Alone, just us 3. But I don't know. It's really hard to say. I mean, like at the same time, it's kind of cool what they did with his character. If you notice at the end, his hair was all grown back, and he kind of looked like how he used to look like in the past episodes, like when he was at the wall and stuff. I thought that was interesting. And then he sees Ghost again. That's funny. Yeah, but like I guess that's cool because then he goes, with Tormund. That's kind of like his best bud at that point, and then and then they just go on and everyone does their own thing. So I guess that was kind of nice. But like even like Joe said, he said maybe it shouldn't really have like a happy ending like that.
It was pretty much too like neat and nice and happy.
Yeah,
and, like,
too clean cut. Right?
That's one thing that George R. R. Martin always said that he loved like writing. He would never do like a happy ending. He said he wanted to do more of like a Lord of the Rings, like it'd be like a bittersweet ending, and like everyone kind of just rides off into the sunset. Like even Jon Snow's ending is supposed to be like bittersweet, but like that's his happiest thing. Like he's gonna essentially be the king beyond the wall. Like Arya gets to be happy, Sam gets to be happy,
right?
Like Bran's happy, Tyrion's happy, like everyone's just happy, and like that's not realistic. And even like how many seasons ago you had when Theon was getting tortured by Ramsay, and he's like, if you think this story is gonna have a happy ending, you haven't been paying attention. It's like that's supposed to just be like a subtle like to the audience like this is not gonna end happily, and then it ends happily. Like, it was kind of stupid. And even Bran, like, he even says, I can't be like a lord of anything. I'm the three-eyed raven. So they even allude to like, oh, he can't be king, and then it's like, oh no, wait, no, now he's king, and it's like,
why do you think I came all this way?
Yeah.
Did he know?
Yeah,
he
like,
would become
that,
king?
that didn't make sense. Yeah.
Because if he can see the future, then he's the biggest asshole in Westeros.
Yeah, he's a prick.
Yeah. I mean,
right, it's
there's
like,
no other way around
So it's like,
it.
wait, you were just doing this because you knew you were
Yeah.
gonna be king, and
Yeah.
not because you could have like stopped like a whole war,
Yeah.
maybe like.
And his
Oh my
powers,
God.
of what use
Yeah.
were they other
What
than finding out
powers?
Jon's parentage?
Yeah, I'm like, what powers did he even have? Like,
The ability to see the past?
that's it.
People
like,
also
and
upset that
present?
like Arya didn't really do the faceless stuff enough. She didn't do it at all the last 2 seasons, I don't think, or
Not
maybe
that
the
I
last
recall.
season. Did she?
Though I will say that storyline of her in whatever that academy was for
Yeah.
faceless recruits, that is the storyline I tuned out most when I was
Yeah,
binging
yeah.
the show. That's just the one
It was a bit
storyline that I
much.
just wasn't invested in for
Yeah.
whatever reason, and it just didn't do it for me. And maybe that's part of the reason I didn't appreciate the character as much as everyone else. I just
Yeah.
didn't enjoy that storyline as much as I
Yeah.
did the rest of the show. It just didn't do it for me.
Like, some people thought it would have been cool if, like, you know how she kind of snuck up to the Night King like that, which was like crazy, by the way. But I guess she's at that point where she's like lighter than air, so she could do stuff like that. And
No human being is lighter than
yeah,
that.
I know, true.
Did
But,
you,
like,
did you,
even
did you hear the
I don't-
read what they said? She leaped off a pile of dead whites.
What? Really?
Yeah, in the script read, when they were doing the table read, they said Arya leaps off a pile of dead whites to the Night King, and then they show some of the wire work they showed in the
Yeah,
documentary
that was
as
kind of
well.
cool. Yeah.
And I found it funny that they, I'm not surprised, but she drops the dagger and she's not actually catching it in her other hand.
oh,
which-
they had to keep
yeah.
redoing
well,
it.
they
yeah.
weren't redoing it. The shot was, I'm sure, CG of the dagger slowly falling into her other hand.
Oh, right. Yeah,
So-
that's probably what. Right, because that's kind of hard. That's not easy to do, especially as
No.
if you're not like someone that
Yeah.
just does that a lot. Like to.
Cool idea, but if
Right,
again,
yeah.
I don't like to nitpick, and that's not something I'm going to nitpick. But
I
if
know.
you were
'Cause we could go
nitpicking,
into that.
if you were, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
The odds of pulling that off.
Right, like first of all, like he should have kind of like seen that, or like throw her. Why are you holding her? Just like, oh, she has a
Yeah.
knife. Like, look out! Like throw her across the fucking room.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He was savoring the moment the Night King. And
Yeah.
I think in the script also, this wasn't in the
And
documentary.
was he just gonna kill Bran like just like that? He was
I
gonna be like, oh, let me kill this crippled kid.
I
Like,
forget where I saw this,
I don't know.
but they said, I believe this was the direction they gave the Night King actor. Look at Bran like a birthday cake you want to eat. I think that
What?
was the direction he received. I forget where I heard this, but
was it in the documentary?
it wasn't in the
No?
documentary, so I'm not sure where I got that information, but I'm certain I heard it somewhere. I heard it somewhere. That's the direction he received on how the look he was supposed to give Bran in that scene. And I think that's...
They didn't do enough with that either. They should have had like more interaction.
They didn't explain it.
I know.
Why exactly did he want Bran
Bran.
dead? Why
Yeah.
Bran specifically?
Yeah.
And what was Bran's whole purpose in that? Like, he clearly wasn't bait. I guess they were trying... Why would they want to draw the Night King inside the walls? That tree is in the walls, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
why would they want the Night King to come into the city walls? That's the point where you're defeated, almost.
Yeah.
I would think. Their entire objective in the Battle of Winterfell was keep them outside the walls.
Right.
But your bait is in... I think Bran was supposed to be bait. He's inside the walls. So
Yeah.
a little confusing, but
Mhm.
I would have given it a pass if it was explained a little bit more.
Yeah, that was one thing that they really fucked up, like that. It wasn't really explained well. Like, even when Jon was like fighting with like the dragon and everything, and they make it seem like he's yelling at the dragon, like, but he's really not yelling at the
Oh,
dragon. Like,
yeah.
if you looked into it, he subtly sees Arya and kind of like looks with his eyes and sees her, and like the only way for Arya to get past the dragon is for him to distract the dragon. So
and apparently he was like
so
saying
he's-
go.
yeah, that's why he's yelling "Go" to Arya, "Go, go, go." But like it comes off like he's literally just yelling at a dragon, and it just looks stupid.
Well, it's also silly too
Like-
because that's also assuming like she would have just went in fine and killed him and did it.
Did
Yeah.
you know that, Sean,
Just-
that he was yelling to let Arya get back?
I didn't know that either
I
until
did
he,
not.
until he
Yeah, I had
mentioned
to
it.
look that up.
that thankfully makes that a lot more
Yeah, yeah.
clear because
Right.
I was very
Yeah.
confused.
But like I said,
It
it
comes
also
off
doesn't make sense
horribly.
because that's like assuming you know how like when you just say to anybody, oh go, like run. you know what's gonna happen. You know, like go hurry, quick. But like he's saying it as if like, oh yeah, she's definitely gonna be able to just go in there and kill it. So I'll just wait here and hopefully he doesn't. You know what I mean? So like that didn't really make sense either. No. It's like I don't know, if anything, like John, run past the dragon and go with it. Like you think she's gonna be able to handle that by herself, which they made her do, but
what problem couldn't she handle
one
from
fight
season
like
4 forward?
Yeah, for real.
I think about season 4 forward.
Arya is
defeated every foe, escaped every near-death situation. Right. In the earlier seasons, she was one of the most vulnerable characters, watching her father die, getting stabbed in the streets of whatever city that was. She was hanging out in with the Faceless Man. Eventually gets in there and she's blinded, put to work until she's worthy. Again, not a storyline that I'm overly familiar with, that I followed intently, but it just seems like once that wrapped up, she came out of that just the most powerful character in all of Westeros at times.
It's that plot armor.
Yeah, well, part of the Screen Rant video we put up on the screen before was that in the Battle of Winterfell, the remedy for a character being swarmed by undead and whites was to put them off screen. Yeah. And then when they returned to being on screen, thumbs up, we're all okay, everything's happy-go-lucky here, we're good. So,
even Sam, like, he's fighting off the fucking whites literally on his back. Like, and he's not even doing anything.
Right,
he's literally
he's
just
not a
lying
sword
there.
fighter. How the hell did he do?
They
should have had more people in there fighting with them. They kind of just had like the main characters. Like, I don't know, that was weird.
Like, you had almost all the Dothraki get killed by the whites, and like half the Unsullied get killed by the whites, but yet somehow Sam survives. Jaime survives with his left hand sword fighting. Like, it was just so illogical. Like, it made no sense. Like, it would have been so much cooler to see Jaime like maybe give his life and like have some big meaning, and like that was one other thing to go back, like with Jaime and
no, that's okay. We'll keep going.
And then like with Jaime and Cersei, like it's almost supposed to kind of be like a nature versus nurture thing, like how they're both the same people, and then it's only when Jaime gets separated from Cersei for a long time, he starts to become different from her, and that was like towards the end when he goes back to her, like it kind of just shits all over his storyline too. Jaime, like it would have made more sense for Jaime to kill her.
Yeah, he should have. It kind of did ruin everything.
It would have been far more acceptable to me the way he went out had he not dropped the line, "Nobody matters but us."
Yeah.
His character arc without that line might have been a little bit more of an acceptable finish. Yeah. But that's a line from an earlier season, if I'm not mistaken. So it clearly was intentional.
And how do you sleep with my girl Brienne that's been like in love with this guy for forever? And then just, like, do a hit it and quit it?
Because nobody matters except us.
Yeah.
That's why.
Ridiculous.
That felt kind of forced, Jaime.
I mean, think about, like, everything that Cersei's caused for Jaime's life to be. Didn't she... Oh, that's another thing. Didn't she send Bronn...
To kill him.
To kill him?
So
it's like, why you, So why you gotta go back there? Oh, that's another thing Joe brought up too. How the hell did Bronn sneak into fucking Winterfell like easily with
a crossbow? Like
with a crossbow,
he just waltzes right in,
right into their room. Like there's no guards, there's no anybody. Like
into the room I get, but if you really think about it, a lot of these characters have only heard of each other in name. Many of them haven't interacted before, so they only caught Jaime outside the camp because of his hand.
Yeah.
Which
right.
Like that hand created so many inconveniences along the way too. Like him fighting Euron. I don't know if Euron's supposed to be a swordsman. Probably not because he's from the Iron Islands. But that whole fight, Jaime
could have won in like easily.
Jaime should have been dead.
Yeah.
He should have been dead.
He
was finished.
But I feel like if his hand wasn't like. He probably could have killed Euron easily.
Yeah, if he had two hands, but he doesn't. Yeah. And when
I like when he uses it to hit him in the face. Though he's like, bing, you hear the sound. It's like bing, like a baseball bat.
When that sword is on the ground, I said to myself, if Jaime crawls to this sword and kills him, I am checking out. And I was on the way to mental checkout before that. Yeah. And then it happened. And not only did it happen, but he impaled him through the rock. And I was like, this is just so ridiculous.
I know.
So ridiculous. And then the fight between the Hound and the Mountain happens. I liked the wrap-up for the Hound, but the fight was a little cheesy. There were some good moments. It was okay. I didn't mind it so much.
I started to squirm again when he was doing the eye thing to his head.
Yeah.
Oh my god. That's probably like out of every Game of Thrones like death, that's gotta be the worst.
Yeah, Oberyn.
So I knew he wasn't gonna able to do it. I know they weren't gonna fucking kill him like that, but he was starting to do it and he saw blood coming. I was like, oh, no, stop. Oh. But, yeah, you know, I at least expected Theon to live. And I thought Theon was going to fight Euron, or at least see him at least one more time, you know, and like kind of have an interaction with him. Like, I guess it's kind of cool to have Jaime fight him, but I think it would have been more fitting if Theon did.
Question. When Theon is about to die, does Bran say to him, "You are a good man," or "You were a good man"? Because I heard "You were a good man," and that is not exactly the vote of confidence I'd be looking for if I was Theon, who charges him anyway.
I think he said "are."
Yeah.
But regardless, like,
I don't know what made him think, like, I don't know why they did that.
I got to see if I can find his death scene is worth a rewatch on its own.
Yeah,
just
I know.
For the sake of comedy.
Because even Joe and I talk about it. If you talk about like any character has one of the strongest character arcs, it's probably Theon. He probably has like one of the best. Like, like I mean, a lot of them do, but like Theon is arguably like one of the best, if not like second best or something.
I'm gonna work on moving this ahead a little bit.
He's one of my favorite characters, Theon. Like, I know a lot of people.
Yeah, that's why I was upset that they made him die like that. Like, he should have at least went out a different way. Like,
I would have had him take out a few of the generals at least. Like, have him take out a few of the Night King generals.
Right.
Alright, we're gonna turn the volume up. Yeah, the brightness isn't gonna do us any favors here.
Is that the quality? Yikes.
Yeah, it might pick it up as the video progresses, but. We know generally what's about to happen. I need to hear this line, though. Turn the volume up.
Why didn't they have swords? Why did they only have, like, arrows?
Watching this again, you can really see how dark this is, even with the reduced quality.
Yeah. Someone else should have been there with it. Like, they should.
I think this is it. We're gonna skip out a little bit.
Okay. They should have had like Jon Snow and him fighting the Night King together. I don't know. Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
You're a good man.
You're a good man.
You're yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
So is that like him saying, all right, go after him now? Like, I don't know.
Let's see the slow motion charge.
It's so sad, bro. As soon as I saw him doing that, I'm like, no, like, what are you, crazy?
You know,
what are you doing?
The end is fitting.
Yeah.
Stop,
the way it happens, a little on the comedic side for me.
Yeah. I would have had him take
very
out
cliche.
He literally just grabs and breaks and stabs him with it. Like,
yeah, it reminds me of Iron Man in Infinity War. When he has the spear on his arm, and then he tries to stab Thanos with it, he snaps and then impales him with it.
Thanos is just mad strong.
Yeah.
That was actually crazy about this. Is technically Thanos almost as strong as the Hulk? Or is as strong as the Hulk?
Pretty much, yeah.
I don't know, like, but like, you know how, like, the Hulk could just, like, with his fists, like, destroy a building and things like, and, like, arguably, like, boulders, rocks, he could pick up cars and heavy things. I think Thanos is strong fighting wise, like in the sense where he knows like the weak points and things like that. But in regards to like strength, I don't think he's as strong as the Hulk. That's like, I know we're talking about Avengers now, but you know what I mean though? Like,
one point on Thanos, he's clearly not as smart as he is strong, because when the Infinity Stones went on to Thanos' gauntlet, he received a power surge.
Yeah.
When the Infinity Stones went into Tony's gauntlet on the Hulk, power surge. You could feel it.
Right.
If you lost the stones, you would think there might be some shift in the way you're feeling.
Yeah.
And Tony just runs right up to him, gets the stones into his gauntlet. Thanos doesn't realize he doesn't have the stones. I am inevitable. Snaps his fingers.
Yeah.
Wait, what? So surprised.
That was kind of
You just lost the Infinity Stones out of your gauntlet. But they had to get from point A to point B. And again, that's nitpicking, but just something I noticed. You would think that he might realize he just lost the power of the stones that created the universe.
I honestly, I love the movie. You saw it twice, right?
Yeah.
Joe saw it twice. I saw it with this Joe, and
I need to see it again.
You actually really, okay. If you do, let me know, because I was actually really upset because I turned to you and you were like, you know what? I didn't really think it was all that great. And I was like, what? Like, I don't know, but maybe we'll talk about that another time.
I'm a DC guy, though, as you can see by that.
Oh, that's true. Oh, you're contradicting him.
Yeah. Figure I'd represent both sides of the coin, but I'm a DC guy.
What do you think of Robert Pattinson being the new Batman?
Oh God.
Is it official?
I mean, he was a Bat Boy in fucking. He played a Bat Boy before, right? So he could do it again. Sorry.
I'm somewhat proud to say I've never seen the Twilight movies.
Me neither.
Have not. And I've heard that in just about everything else he's done, he's a good actor.
That's what I heard too. Yeah.
So when they take off all the pale makeup and outfit him like a Bruce Wayne,
right?
You could probably
give him a chance because I heard people weren't crazy about Heath Ledger being the Joker.
No, or Ben Affleck as Batman.
Right. And I even Ben Affleck, I don't think he did a bad job being the Batman.
No, I didn't. Batman vs Superman, when I was going into that movie, I saw it opening night in New York City. The anticipation level was an 11 on a scale of 1 to 10.
Right.
I rarely anticipate movies like that. I came out of that movie trying with everything in me to convince myself that I liked it. And I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
But it disappointed me a lot. There were a lot of loose ends. Like, there were plot points that simply did not make sense, and I won't get into it in detail. But when they had the premiere of... I actually have it right behind me, I think. So if I do, I'll grab it.
Okay.
But they had the premiere in New York City of... If you haven't heard of it, I'm sure most of us, or most of your listeners and viewers have, the Ultimate Edition of Batman vs. Superman.
Wow.
Have you ever seen that?
Let's go probably maybe see that from here. I don't think so, no.
Well, there's...
Oh, I love her.
There's an edition...
I love her so much. Wonder Woman.
There's an edition of the movie that's an extra 30 minutes, as you can see in the corner. It really ties up some of the loose ends from Batman vs. Superman. It makes a lot more sense. Yeah. Giving Game of Thrones credit where it's due, they had 7 seasons of exceptional build for these characters going into 100%. Season 8. DC had one movie's worth of build for one character.
I personally love Season 8 of Game of Thrones. If I had to pick, like, a favorite season, that's definitely up there. I mean, like, I really liked it. I thought, like, the whole thing with them and behind the wall and, like, having to go get a body and, like it had so much cool build up for 8, and then, like, 8 was just, like, par, it just wasn't...
So you're saying Season 7 was one of your favorites?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, okay, because I was going to say, you would have never been able to tell that Season 8 was one of your favorites by this conversation.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, so... yeah.
I'm not that hard to please, right? So... Like, the way it ended and the way it went, I'm like, okay, I'm not... But at the same time, like, when I talk to more people that bring out good points about the writing and stuff, I'm like, yeah, shit, like, it could have definitely been better. But like I said, it doesn't bother me, like, a whole lot. I still think they... you gotta give the credit where it's due to the actors. Like, these are guys that committed to these roles for, like, years and years, and it's crazy. It's hard to play a role like that. They're even saying, Jon Snow, it's in the news right now in the newspaper. He had to go to rehab.
I don't think it's the first time either, but I did hear about it.
All that time you're putting into being some completely different, and like this character, especially after that long. That was like his 10 years of Jon Snow, right? Yeah, I guess like that kind of changed you. Like especially like figure a guy that plays like a crazy murderer in a movie, and you gotta play this sick fuck, right? That just think about it like that too.
The Joker.
Yeah, that's actually like a perfect, like, not that like that's what killed him. Like he had, but at the same time, it was from drugs, like a drug overdose,
out of
right?
respect for the family, of course, you don't want to make a assumptions.
No,
but
of course
they've released so many documentaries. I believe,
becoming the character could have like
approved by his family, the true story of what happened, and then of course you have people who have to speculate.
Because it happened, didn't it happen before the movie even came out?
It did.
He never even got to see the movie.
Saw the finished product as it was in theaters.
It kind of makes sense, like I don't want to assume anything either. Yeah, but that's just it's crazy. So whatever's going on with Jon Snow, I hope he's alright. Kit Harington. Yeah, like imagine that, like having to go to. Oh Jesus.
That's unfortunate.
Oh, the Dark Knight trilogy,
yeah.
Man.
More great movies.
Oh, I
should say great movies, not more great movies.
Three of the best. Like honestly, like those were amazing. And I got the Joker coming out this year, which I'm in. If you guys want an autograph, I'll sign it right now.
You can sign my Dark Knight trilogy.
Hey, so is there anything else you guys feel like we didn't touch on yet? That you said maybe some funny stuff.
I tried to stick strictly to the plot of the show and the main points, but there are some things that made me laugh out loud a little bit, nitpick a little bit more than perhaps I'd like to. One of them were Danny's facial expressions throughout the season. That was just one thing. When Missandei's beheaded, I get what they were going for, but it made me laugh.
Remember Grey Worm? He was like...
Grey Worm's... Grey
like,
Worm, I could tolerate some more extreme. That was his girl, obviously.
Right.
And of course, she was close to Danny, too, but for whatever reason, those facial expressions just made me laugh out loud. Same thing on the dragon's back when she's about to burn King's Landing. Again, I had a smirk on my face. You knew it was coming, but to me, it was just funny, and that's just the way it played for me on screen. And with the death of the Lannisters, too, it bothered me, the way the rubble was distributed around the room. The way it appeared,
I noticed that immediately. And sometimes I don't always notice stuff like that, but...
I try not to.
Like he was about to say, and there's a big joke about it, too. So, when Tyrion gets in there, and this is before he even finds him, he's literally walking... on clear path, and you're so when I originally thought the whole building came down, right, from what they made it seem like, but what really just happened was just the ceiling collapsed, but not even, because it was literally just bricks, so it didn't fall in clunks, if it was ceiling with a collapse, it wouldn't fall in perfect brick form. You know what I mean? Everything just came down in a perfect brick, but nothing came down in a big clunk.
I'm not going to get into the logistics of the collapse. I'm just saying there was one half of the room that was covered from floor to ceiling in bricks, the other half completely clear.
Right,
Tyrion walks right on in.
Yeah.
Tyrion was taller than the bricks were high. Yeah. So there was no reason why they couldn't have just stepped over 10 feet.
That's true.
And they'd still be alive.
Yeah.
And Tyrion got down there really too, but I think there was a small opening, right? There was a small opening.
Yeah, so he was able to kind of.
I don't know. I don't think Cersei would have had a problem getting through a small opening. Even Jaime. I mean.
Well, what about You see where they were about to leave. And all those piles of bricks were kind of blocking that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I feel like they could have did a similar thing. How Tyrion got in. I feel like if they just moved a few bricks at the top together.
They could have, but then they don't die in each other's arms.
True.
That's just the way they wanted it to play out.
Yeah.
You got to get there somehow.
That was messed
to me,
up.
it's just a decision with the way they said it in that 6th episode to have that area of the room clear. They could have had Tyrion climb over some bricks.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the coffee cup and the water bottle. All right. So look, you gotta figure a lot's going on. You're doing a lot. But at the same time, to not notice little things like that, especially after the editing and all that stuff you're doing, that is a bit laziness, okay, it's you could give them a pass because it's maybe you see it for a second out of a 90-minute episode, right? But at the same time, it kind of just shows, how could you not
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't notice, right? But people do, and if a lot of people did notice that, clearly, the editor should have noticed that too, and it's just stupid that it was even a thing. But it's funny. It's funny. Someone brought up the fact that, hey, maybe it was on purpose because look, now everyone's talking about Starbucks. How many people do you think went to Starbucks after all that talk about? Right? Well, I didn't think about it. I mean, I'm not saying they've never been to Starbucks and now they're gonna go. But is that it?
Yeah,
is it a video?
It's tough to see. No, it's only the screen capture.
Oh, but
of
there it is. Yeah.
It's clearly there, and I guess their focus is the characters active in the scene, Tormund,
right?
And
so
Jon
you're not even
Snow,
seeing
but
it.
did that, and I guess
that was probably hers too. So maybe was that her fault? You think?
No, but you look at this and
being a Targaryen's tiring work. You need coffee.
It's not even clear on my computer screen where the quality's much better that it's a Starbucks cup. So if you're watching this back, not aware that there were Starbucks cups around the room, you might not catch it.
Right.
someone caught it immediately, obviously. So,
like, if anything, if you really wanted to bring stuff on set like that, like, put it in a thing like that. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, or like just one of those mugs, like mugs that they have. Like, put it in something like that.
Yeah,
So
like
just
a
in case something like
goblet
that
or some
happens
shit.
and you forget about it. Yeah, but like a lot of people were like freaking out about that stuff, and I was like, come on, it's not that big of a
That
deal.
doesn't matter to
No,
me.
it really
No.
doesn't. One thing what I thought was crazy, I think it's still up. There's a whole petition to remake the last season, which I just think it's. Oh yeah, you can pull it up. I just think it's silly because, first of all, there's no way they're gonna do that.
No.
Like, even if you had like 1 million people sign this petition.
they have 2 million.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
They do.
Pull that up.
Yeah.
I gotta find
You've
it,
gotta
but
be
I
kidding
think
me.
as of yesterday it was 2 million.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So maybe 4.
There's also a
See,
petition
well-
to keep the writers off of Star Wars now.
Oh god.
Oh god.
So are they
Well,
doing
well,
it now? Because I heard that it got nixed, but then not.
On May 19th, it was 1 million fans. that
Mother
signed.
of God. Wait, so are they directing like a new Star Wars trilogy,
I
or
think they're writing at least a new Star Wars movie, but I think it's a trilogy.
Oh god.
is
and I
it
think
supposed to be based around like with Rey and like, or it's gonna be like
No.
a prequel, a future? Like, what are they?
Knights of the Old Republic, maybe?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Because
that's
there's a
what
lot
I
of different
heard.
Star
and I'm
Wars
not
stories.
familiar with
right?
any of that.
Me
I only,
neither. I don't
only
know.
heard it,
I'm
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, fuck it, right? Like, I mean, like, okay, it's gonna be different because in this case they're not gonna probably rush, and they'll probably just take their time with it. I'm assuming, right?
I have to ask, summarize your opinion on The Last Jedi in one word.
I left the theater and I actually thought it was like a really good movie, but then that's what happens. Like, you know, that's kind of what happens with me. Like, things don't really necessarily bother me at first until I start talking with my friends and they point out things that shouldn't have happened or should have happened. So, like I said, like I saw the movie and really liked it, but then after like seeing how the internet reacted and friends and stuff, then I was like, oh, like I guess it really wasn't that good. Like it definitely kind of.
So, Joe, fewer words?
Space flying.
I'm sorry about that. You said few words. I
said
spoke
one
like,
word.
I spoke like a paragraph. Oh, you did. You
Yeah,
did say
I
one
did.
word. All right. So
'Cause I knew mine, so it's a little bit of an unfair question. I know what
misleading,
word.
I guess.
The
I
trailer was
got
absolutely
I got
misleading.
misled. Yeah.
The trailer was
yeah.
misleading.
Crap.
Yeah.
Well,
crap.
I shouldn't really say the trailer was misleading because you kind of got what you saw in the trailer, but the trailer looked really good.
Yeah.
Right.
That
yeah.
trailer was
I
excellent.
guess I meant when I said misled. I think I meant misled into thinking it was a good movie, and then I realized that it wasn't as good as
my word is disrespectful
Yeah.
to the fans, to the
yeah.
character of Luke Skywalker,
That was dumb. I know.
to logic.
Right.
I felt disrespected.
So
Yeah.
who knows what this last one's gonna be like? But apparently they got an old director back, and that's why you have like the Sith guy who's gonna come back.
Yeah, they have J.J. Abrams
Yeah,
from
yeah.
Right.
Force
So
Awakens.
hey, you know that they
Now.
might make up for the mistakes. It might end up being really cool.
Well, he's a big Star Wars
wait,
fan
you
guy.
found that
J.J.
petition? Is that it?
Abrams.
No, I don't have the actual petition. I don't know where it is, but it reached 1 million signatures as of
Right.
the 19th.
Wow. You see, like,
Yeah.
and that's the point I was trying to
This
get
might
at
be it right here,
before.
actually. Oh, here it is.
Oh, that is it. Oh my God.
Confident writers. That was the
Can you
thing.
put
with
that on the
them.
big screen?
I'm going to, yeah. So they're not
Take
at
your
2
time.
million yet. Let's get
That's
this
what it
up.
was.
Wow.
The
Oh, you
shoulders.
get
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Look, don't they say 4 minutes ago? Look,
Oh,
so
yeah.
people are still signing it.
Dylan D.
So Dylan D started this. Shout out to Dylan D. He started this change.org petition, and wow, like how huge it is, bro.
Well,
Some of the
now they know where we are.
what?
Staten Island, New York.
Oh God. I actually have a petition on there too. I'm trying to get Made in Staten Island rebooted, but that's a whole other video that's gonna come in the few. Yeah, so don't worry about that yet. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, but like I said, like it's not gonna. Like I said, like, even if they get like up to 3 million, what does that say? Let's get to 3 million. They're not gonna redo it. I mean,
No.
like especially all that work they did. You think they're just gonna no? Especially even the actors too. You think the actors want to go through all that? They want to
think-
move on to bigger projects. I would think.
I don't know if there's a bigger payday than another season of Game of Thrones.
That's true. That's
500K
true.
an episode for the leads.
No way.
I think that's
Oh
what
my
the
God.
salary
An
was
episode?
for the leads. Yeah.
Maybe that's why they did less episodes.
So who
Pay them
do you
less.
consider
Probably.
leads?
Oh,
Jon
but come on,
Snow,
you trying to tell me they don't
Daenerys,
have the money to pay them?
Cersei and Jamie leads? Those 4?
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyone else?
HBO said that they would have
That's
given them the
crazy.
money to do another season or 2. Like, they said it was no issue at all. Like,
That's just upsetting to hear. So
yeah.
Yeah, right. I heard that too. It blows.
It seemed like the showrunners just kind of wanted to be done with it, and that, like, with them, they were always great at adapting, like, the books from season 1 through 4, and then, like, once they got past that, that's when you noticed that there was a drop-off.
I love this picture.
They ran out of
It's
books.
like really cool.
You know, you mentioned the picture. The picture is what I think it sums it up well. It's what a lot of viewers wanted to see when the show was over. A definitive winner of the Game of Thrones,
Like
whether
one
it
of
be
them
Jon
three, right?
Snow,
Yeah.
Night King, Daenerys, or someone else. You get Bran, the Iron Throne's destroyed. Your favorite characters are sent off in all different directions. In some cases, very unsatisfying. I thought Jon Snow's ending was just miserable.
Well, you know what's funny, Joe?
Awful.
Joe was saying, I was like, no, I know they're not gonna do that. But Joe at first was like, oh, like what if they just kill everybody, and it ends with just the Night King being like the, just that's it. Like everyone's dead, everyone's a zombie, and that's how
No
it ends.
spin-offs if you
But
do that. No spin-offs.
That's true. You
can't
see,
do
no,
it.
I knew they weren't gonna do
It'd
that.
have to be a prequel, and that creates a lot of problems.
Right.
I just want the
well,
prequel.
isn't that what they're doing? They're doing a few prequels.
I think
right?
they are doing. I don't know if they're writing a book about something that takes place outside.
I just want to see Tormund and the Ghost. It's gonna be a good prequel. I mean spin-off series. Nah. They can't do it now because now like they're all together already.
No, they opened it up. They're beyond the wall. They could have all different adventures beyond
I
the
would
wall.
love that. Would actually be great. Yeah, and
It's a
they
lot
could
cheaper.
bring Jon Snow back. Oh yeah, 100%.
A lot cheaper when you only have one main character.
Yeah, you know, people were saying, oh, that in that case they should also do one with Arya, but they have no plan.
They're definitely doing that. I think that's
I
the
hope.
first one.
I mean, like, right? I think they said that. I heard on IGN. I mean, they get a lot of this bullshit news sometimes, but it did say something about. I'm not sure who they talked to, who told who, but that there wasn't planned for one. But yeah, I mean, like that would be cool. People making jokes like you know that show Westworld that's on HBO. People are saying, "What's west of Westeros?" Westworld, and so she's gonna end up like there. That would be cool. Like if they actually like, even if they just put the actress like in the new season, I think that would be like kind of funny. Not even like as Arya, but just the actress. Like that would be kind of like a funny Easter egg or something. I don't know. Yeah. But HBO, like, yeah, you know, so a lot of people I noticed too were saying, oh, well, now I don't need HBO anymore. I don't need, okay, yeah, I mean, if you just watched it for Game of Thrones, like, okay, I guess I get it, but HBO has like tons of good shows. Barry is one. I'm not sure if you guys watched that.
Yeah.
Barry's a great show.
I'll say right off the jump, I no longer need HBO.
Yeah.
I
All
don't.
right.
I don't watch a lot of TV though.
Okay.
I don't.
Well, yeah, I don't blame you then. Like you got some of the you got the streaming services anyway. You know, you don't really. But Watchmen looks good.
Yeah, I hope that's good.
Yeah.
Overall, for the 8th season for me, I think the fairest way to describe it is a little bit disappointing. Definitely rushed.
Definitely rushed.
I didn't mind where they went with the story. I thought the story points were good. I thought the execution obviously was rushed out.
Right.
And in some instances, it was very unsatisfying. Like Jaime Lannister, I think his ending is probably the most unsatisfying of any character individually.
I know.
Jon Snow really doesn't do anything the entire season except kill Daenerys, which obviously is a huge event over the course of the plot. But up until that point, doesn't really do much. And his character, in a way, is just neutered. He just doesn't do anything. And I joke about it a lot and have since the season ended. You're my queen. She's our queen. I don't want it. So many of his lines over the course of the season.
Right, which is the same bullshit. I know.
It's comical.
And like I cringed like every time they would kiss because I didn't want to see that. You know, like I understand in the beginning, but then once he found out who he was, he would still kind of have those little moments where he kissed her, and it's like, all right, now you know she's your aunt, and you're still kissing your aunt. So like I don't know, I like every time they would, even at the end there when they were kissing and then he stabs her, I actually really didn't know he was gonna stab her right then and there.
Really?
No, I don't know why. Like, but
as soon as he started kissing,
but I started cringing. I was with my dad. I was like, oh, are they really gonna fucking make him kiss right now? But then my dad was like, oh, did you hear that? I'm like, what? What do you mean? And then he rewinded it, and then I hear the the cutting through the. And I was like, oh fuck, and I was like, yeah, but then I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, like I hated them doing that. The whole like, I don't know. It was kind of gross, but
they're clearly not afraid of
no.
on-screen incest.
Yeah,
so
no.
It is what it is at that point.
But yeah, like you said, man, I feel like maybe if it just wasn't rushed, like if they just spread it out to like another season or two, it probably would have been fine. Even if they did exactly what they did, but just stretched it out and maybe changed a few things, it could have made a whole difference. Or like I said, just even if they just did like a normal 10 episodes, like that probably could have been fine too. But you know, it ended it with 6. You know, but what could we do? A petition's not going to change anything. It's gone. It's over.
For the record, I haven't signed it. I have not signed it.
I have not signed it either.
And I will not sign it.
I'm not trying to get my hopes up for anything that's not going to happen. No. But hey, you know, before I end this video, I just want to say, you know, it's if Game of Thrones did one thing, it brought like a whole community together of people, of fans. It's one of my favorite. It's still like, even though what happened, it's still one of my favorite shows of all time. I love it. I love the characters. I just, like I said, it didn't end the way we all wanted it to, but it was such a great ride. And just getting into it from the beginning, like I wasn't giving it a chance. I would see it on TV. I was like, oh, what is this? And then it took, that kind of like is what happened with a lot of people. No one really gave it a chance at first, but it did so much to the world. I feel like just the impact, like, you know, you got like the Mets having brand deals with it, and just like all these different sponsorships
Adidas.
and like everything. Is that?
That's the White Walker Ultra.
Is it?
It is.
Oh, that's why you had that there.
Yeah.
Oh my God, winter is here. Oh, dude, this is crazy.
You got the spiral that ultimately.
Wait, I gotta show these guys real quick. Ugh.
Yeah.
I'm gonna show you guys up close what we have. You could kind of see it on the table, but like, okay. So you have these shoes.
Yeah.
Look inside. If you could see inside.
They're large. Actually, you know what? I have more. There's more.
You do have more. It says Game of Thrones inside. Check out the bobblehead. That's pretty cool. I don't really watch baseball, so I don't really know this guy. But is he a pitcher?
Noah Syndergaard. He actually had a cameo on the show.
He had a cameo on the show.
He was on the show.
Who
I
else
was looking for him.
Who else had a cameo on the show? This guy from
It's Always Sunny.
Yeah.
And then on there.
Yes, isn't this cool? Look at this guy. I want this so bad.
Oh, there's plenty of them online, all different teams. They're actually releasing a Mr. Met riding the Fire Dragon, so
oh, cool.
I'll be going after that in the not too distant future.
See, that would probably.
This is the House Stark, unworn.
Since when did that? I never knew about this, man.
Even they have the Game of Thrones paper. But there you go.
Oh my God. All right, guys, here's another pair of shoes. I would totally rock these. Like, this is cool. It says
the Night's
winter.
Watch shoe is readily available online.
There's a Night's Watch shoe too.
That's Stark. This is White Walker, but the
crazy.
Put these on the table too. Oh, I can now.
These are nice, man. Oh, you have that too?
I do not have the Night's Watch. The Night's Watch pair was the one that nobody wanted.
Okay.
So those sat. And then they had a Targaryen pair that was men's in black and red, like that hat over there.
Oh, yeah.
And then they had another Targaryen pair that was women's in white and gold. So the white and gold pair, women's, didn't sell out. The black and red eventually did.
That's cool. That's like really creative. That's awesome. So just Adidas did this, I guess?
Yes.
It was just like an Adidas promotion.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
It might say on the side.
Wow. Joe, any last remarks you'd like to say? This Joe?
Last remarks were to be towards this last season that they went a little too big. Where, like, if you were to go back and compare it to Endgame, like Infinity Wars to Endgame, they didn't go as big. They went smaller, and that's why the ending I liked better. But this season they just went bigger and bigger and bigger. Like, they just fell into that pitfall that so many shows go into. And, like, to compare it to another show, Breaking Bad, like, the last season of Breaking Bad perfectly, like, made the show bigger, but it knew when to rein it in, and it knew how to end it. Like,
that's definitely one of those shows. Like Breaking Bad had like a legit, like, perfect ending. I don't know.
I don't know if perfect's the word I'd use.
I
like the way that, you know, I'm not gonna.
And next week we'll be talking about Breaking Bad.
I'm not gonna go off onto a really big tangent about the ending of Breaking Bad, but for me, Walter's plan with the machine gun in the back of his car, to me.
Oh, come on, that was so cool.
It was cool looking. It was a little too out there for me.
No. A little like over the top.
It was a little over the top.
I guess, yeah.
It was over the top. I didn't mind that they killed him. I thought that was fine. But that plan, and it had to be perfectly... There were a lot of logistics that went into that one that needed to be sorted out. But if anyone could figure it out, it was him. Yeah. He proved himself to be a
now
smart
you got a
guy.
Breaking Bad movie coming out or something like that.
Dude, I did hear about that.
Yeah,
I did.
I think it's true, though. I don't know.
It is true. It's confirmed.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, it's around
That's
Jesse
cool.
Pinkman, which I don't want to see because I like to be ignorant and just pretend that he gets away and lives happily ever after. Even though
like
he
hopefully
it's a
they don't
sequel.
kill the dude. I don't know.
Yeah, it's
but,
supposed to be a sequel.
Speaking about Aaron Paul, he's going to be in Westworld, the new season of Westworld. Have you watched it?
The only HBO show I've watched is Game of Thrones.
Wait, you haven't watched Westworld either?
I started watching it and then it was like
you guys got it. Oh,
good.
it's so crazy. The second season's even nuts, but crazier. Going back to Game of Thrones though, I'd love to see these guys do other roles. You know, now that they'll have more time, obviously we probably will be seeing them do other stuff. Well, actually, Sansa's been doing that thing with X-Men, so I guess that's cool.
Yeah.
But not everyone's like, that's a whole other thing to get into.
Dark Phoenix is coming out in,
it looks interesting.
A week or two?
Yeah.
I think a week?
Yeah.
I have not heard good things.
People have saw like early screenings?
If I had to summarize everything I've heard about Dark Phoenix so far, it could be summed up in 2 words: brace yourself.
Yikes.
The test screenings, from what I've heard, not good. And I've heard there are some laughably acted scenes, and that you'll know them when you see them. Don't know if they're still in the movie, if they were
like the acting was bad too.
That's what I heard.
Oh yikes!
They said there's one.
A lot of pressure being an actor, bro.
One particular scene that's supposed to be emotional that falls flat, but you know, I really enjoyed Days of Future Past. Thought that was great.
Yeah.
Apocalypse.
I like that too. Yeah, I didn't like that. I think
Apocalypse
if
not
I
so
had
much.
to pick one I like the best, I think it is Days of Future Past.
Days of Future Past is excellent.
100%.
Apocalypse not so much. So the X-Men have been hit and miss for me. I like Logan. I mean, who didn't enjoy Logan?
That was great.
Logan was amazing.
The Wolverine I hated. The one set in Japan. I
that was a little.
Hated the Wolverine.
Well, they're somehow gonna introduce the X-Men into the Marvel universe soon, eventually. So that that should be dope.
Whatever they want.
I know, but now that they own Fox, they could kind of do whatever they want with the characters now. Even Deadpool, if they really wanted to get Deadpool, well, they're trying to do this multiverse thing in the new Spider-Man movie, so they're probably gonna somehow get them like in there. Even Venom, they might even get Tom Hardy's Venom into it too, which would be really, really, really cool. It would only make sense to have like him fight Venom, you know. That's one of his like mortal enemies.
That made no sense, the Venom movie without Spider-Man. Because it's like, why was Venom so much?
Though.
I didn't see it. I've still been.
Oh, you did it? It's good.
What channel
I
has
liked
Venom? Stars. I know one of those 3, Cinemax, HBO, Stars. One of them has Venom. I think it's Stars, which I don't have.
Oh, that plays the movie.
I had it up until a month or 2 ago.
It's definitely not HBO.
Did not.
Yeah, I know. I would
When
watch
Venom
it again because it's really good.
What kind of accent is he trying to do in that movie, by the way, Tom Hardy? Because I couldn't figure it out. Like, is it supposed to be like a Brooklyn, a Boston accent?
Well, it's probably a mask. He has a British accent normally, right? So it's him trying to do that accent, but he can't.
It sounded
completely
terrible.
Get rid of his own.
Yeah, it sounded awful.
Now, who else you got? Oh, so yeah, Khal Drogo. He went on. He became Aquaman, which was another great movie. And then Arya. What's her name? Maisie Williams.
Yeah.
I haven't seen her in movies and stuff, or another TV show. But if you go on YouTube, she's been in like a few music videos. So she's like active in that kind of sense, which is cool.
You can get everyone's filmography.
You'll definitely see Arya, and when they do the Last of Us movie, I think.
Oh yeah, she would probably be a perfect Ellie.
She would be.
Yeah.
She would be.
She
perfect.
would.
Yeah.
Especially since how Ellie comes about.
Yeah,
She's kind of like that quiet girl, becomes like a strong fighter.
Plus, Arya's got that baby face, so even if it takes another like 4 or 5 years to do the movie, she's still gonna look like she could be like a little 13-year-old girl.
Exactly.
That's gonna be.
Oh, and Peter Dinklage, and then in Avengers, he had that scene where he was that giant that helped Thor make the axe.
Yeah.
That was cool. That was awesome. I love the fact that they made him like huge like that too. That was so dope.
Well, Kit Harington's got the How to Train a Dragon movies or whatever.
Wait, who?
I think he does that How to Train a Dragon.
Kit Harington?
Yeah, I think
he's
a
voice.
In them.
He's a voice, yeah.
Yeah,
is
he's one of the voices.
Of one of the guys?
He might be the voice of the main dragon.
No. Wait, Kit Harington does the voice of the the dragon that's making mumbling sounds?
I don't know.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and I got the highest rated TV shows of all time on IMDb.
Oh yeah, of course. Littlefinger and The Wire.
Oh yeah, Littlefinger also did the Maze Runner movies. He was in there.
Yep.
No, but you ever see The Wire? The Wire is fucking incredible.
Yeah, I have.
That shit is intricate.
Oh, that's all there.
Batman the Animated Series.
Wait, who's this?
This is the top-rated TV shows of all time. With
Oh,
Game of
really?
Thrones up at number 6.
What's number one?
Chernobyl.
Chernobyl. Oh, that's another thing that's on HBO right now. I was checking it out with my dad. It's basically a documentary on the Chernobyl in Russia thing that happened, like the explosion.
Planet Earth too.
That happened. Planet Earth too. Yeah, that's
Who's
very
that?
good.
Oh, you can't see the cursor.
You got Our Planet. I think that's like a new documentary. It's on Netflix. That's really good. But yeah, guys. Until another series comes out that we're both the three of us are kind of deeply involved with, we could do another podcast and talk about like that first season or whatever. Or if you guys have any ideas for future episodes, let me know. Maybe we could talk about Avengers. We could talk about the whole lead up to Endgame and that.
See it again. I need to see it again.
Yeah. All right. So we'll do that. We'll see it again. And he already saw it twice, so maybe we'll do that, guys, if you want to see a podcast about that. But as for now, that ends this today's episode about Game of Thrones Season 8 and our thoughts and our opinions on it. We did expect more, the three of us, and we would have hoped for more. But in the end, I guess at this point we got to let it rest. It came a long way. And I'll definitely miss it. I'm going to miss it. But, it's there's plenty more stuff to come out and be hyped for. So it's just the beginning. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. This has been Actually Anything. I have two Joes, Joe Foreman, Joe Kielbasa. And thank you for watching.
George, and George. George Foreman's kids. He named all his kids George. George Foreman.
Did he actually?
I swear to God, all of George Foreman's kids are named George.
That's funny.
Because he's fucking sociopath.